It's 3 a.m. and I'm standing in an empty parking lot behind the county jail, wearing only my pajamas, and I've done the impossible. I have locked myself out of jail. You can do this. And all I want in this moment is my cell phone and a Xanax, which shows that I haven't learned my lesson because I was arrested that evening for calling in a prescription for Xanax on my cell phone. And to my credit, it was not a recreational phone call. I'd been really, really depressed, so depressed that I wanted to take my own life. And I had been sober for 3 years. I had relapsed. I was too ashamed to tell anybody what had happened. So I ran to the wine aisle at Publix, and I stood there for 10 minutes picking the perfect Pinot Noir because I believe you never get a second chance to make a last impression. And I wasn't about to be caught dead next to an empty bottle of Merlot. So before I paid cash for the hotel room and turned off my phone, I called in that prescription for Xanax because the other 30 that I had I thought maybe weren't enough. And I took the pills and I drank the wine, and that should have been it. Except that I woke up the next day in the ICU. And my husband told me that that phone call that I had made gave them an idea of where I could be. And a friend of ours had driven around for 2 hours until he found my car. And so that phone call ended up being a blessing, and it was what saved my life. The irony was that a week after I got home from the hospital, that phone call was what brought a police detective to my house with a warrant for my arrest. And I went to the jail and spoke to him and told him my story that, this was all a big misunderstanding. This was a misunderstanding. I am a good person. I was just sad, and I wasn't supposed to be around for this part, this jail part. And he's looking like he understands, like his face is getting softer, and he pats me on the shoulder, and he's like, everything's gonna be okay. It's gonna be just fine. And then he leaves me with an asshole with a camera with a little Disney figurine next to it, and the asshole says, look at Pluto. And like I'm a 5-year-old taking my first class picture. And like a 5-year-old, I bawl because people say some heavy shit when you survive a suicide attempt, like, God saved you for a reason, and you're going to do great things with your life. And this is not what I'm thinking that they had in mind when they said these things to me. So I'm fingerprinted and put into a holding cell with a group of other women, one of whom happens to be the supermarket baker who gives my kids their free cookies every week. And she's also there for a misunderstanding. So she teaches me about bail and how to use the payphone on the wall to call collect, which I do over and over again until my husband says, can I please get some sleep? Please stop. And then they're lining us up to see the jail nurse, and I'm getting my argument ready about how I am too frail to spend any more time in jail and they need to let me go, and my name is called. My name is called, the bail has come through. They wave me into this waiting area where they tell me that there's another phone that I can use to call for a ride home. There may have been a phone, I have no idea. All I saw were the glass double doors with the moonlight outside, and I am through those doors, and I breathe in the fresh air of freedom as the door clicks shut behind me. And I find out that once you leave jail, they do not want you coming back because there is no amount of banging on that door and yelling that will bring them to answer me. So I'm still, for the first time in a long time, the only place I can think of to go to is the strip club down the road, and I'm not really dressed for it. So as I'm standing there, I catch an image of my reflection in the glass, and what I see there is not a sad, misunderstood soul who is fragile. I see an impulsive woman who runs headlong into the night because she does not want to face the consequences of her actions, because she's too afraid. And as I'm standing there, I see this little glow out of the corner of my eye, and it is a man with a cell phone coming out of the shadows, and I stalk the hell out of this man. And as I'm doing that, it comes to me that I need to stop running, that I need to be still if I'm going to begin to get better and begin to find my way back home. Thank you.